What's going on, guys? It's M00 Photo, and today on this video we're going to discuss about the gear that I've invested money into that turned out to be a letdown. Well, not quite a letdown, because some of this hasn't been a letdown, but it's been rather things that I've spent money onto or into that I haven't quite used as much as I thought I was going to. And first thing first, we're just gonna go ahead and talk about this beautiful mighty Laowa probe lens. So the great thing about this lens is that it gives you amazing shots. You can get really close to your subject. It's a macro lens, and on top of that, it does give you immaculate image, better than probably anything that I've ever used macro wise. The biggest problem with it is image quality. Image quality on this is a little tricky because it's a little on the warm side. So you always have to kind of, fix that post, which is not a big deal, but it's just an extra step that I wish for a $1,500 lens I wouldn't have to deal with afterwards. But yes, so number two. This lens, I think I've owned it for roughly a year now. You know how many times I've used it? 3 times. 3 times only, which kind of makes you wonder at that point, is this really worth owning? Or I should have just rented it. But then when I was looking at the cost of renting, it was $150 at some places. I think there's lens rentals. But what pushed me to buy this lens, of course, just like all other YouTubers, is I watched what's his name? He's one of my biggest idols here on YouTube. You know, one of the guys that I love following their videos most of the time. That's Daniel Schiffer. And he reviewed this lens, and I thought it was a really great lens, and that's why I bought it, just because I was like, you know what, since I do a lot of commercials and whatnot, product commercials, this lens would be handy, and having to spend money to rent it every single time would be rather cumbersome or stressful than just owning it myself. So let me just open it and show you what comes in here. So in here you get the lens, which is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's not something you see regularly. And in front of it, it comes with these little LED lights that basically helps illuminate your subject. Because this lens is a macro lens, as I mentioned before, which means it requires a lot of lights, lots of it. So right now I have a Godox VL300 and an SL60, and let me tell you, sometimes it feels like that's not enough. And then you get a little remote for the lens itself. This is basically to control the light, the little LEDs in front of it. So yeah, that's pretty much all you get in the box. And then you get this beautiful rugged aluminum case that comes with it. So that's it. Number two, this guy. So when I first started photos and videos, I really did invest myself heavily in photography. I have a Sony A7R III still on my shelf that I only use, when I'm doing product commercials, if I'm trying to animate something, and every now and then, for family photos. But I bought this. This is an art box. For those of you who don't know what this is, it's basically a portable storage that does not require a computer to store stuff in it. So you basically just pop in your SD card in there, and it copies everything inside. So this basically gives you like a second safe plan, just in case your SD card fails. At least you'll have some of your footage stored in here so you can use it. Do you know how many times I've used it? Once. I've used it once only, which kind of makes me feel like, why did I spend $600 on this? And don't get me wrong, it's a solid, amazing product. But now I have an FX3, which I really do wish they had the capability of storing CF Express Type A cards on here, because that would be great. Can you imagine, you know, being at a shoot, just pop up your CF Express card, you know, just pop it in there, store everything, and, you know, erase everything off of the card. This is a terabyte, which means, you know, you can pretty much, you know, store anything and everything in it, and you don't need a laptop. You know, that's the great thing about this product. But is it really, you know, serving me as I thought it would? No. So that's item number 2. Item number 3, this guy right here. And I'm not even gonna call this a letdown. I'm just gonna call this a total failure on my part, because again, I used to be that kind of guy that listens to a lot of YouTubers, you know, going on and on and on about a product. And I think that's what got me with this slider. So this is the Edelkron V5 slider. It's the compact size, and it comes with the motor. And with it, I went ahead and purchased these guys right here. So this one is still in the box, which I'm not gonna pull it out because again, it's the same thing as this. But if you guys would like, you know, a review specifically for this, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to go ahead and conduct that. But my biggest problem with this is it's not quite what they advertise, because they say, oh, you know, well, it carries a lot of weight, but they never specify, you know, how much weight that is. So I've tried to put my FX3 on this with a Sigma 24-70, and this thing struggles. Like, it struggles so bad that I just literally, I was like, you know what, I'm not even gonna bother, because when I put it in here, my footage just shakes and startles, and you know, for I don't know if it was like $900, you know, on this, it's really sad, to say the least. So yeah, I'd say so far, you know, in my studio, this is probably my worst investment so far. If anybody's got an idea of something similar to this that could do a better job, please let me know down there in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to check it out, because I need something similar to this really bad. You know, I really do need that, and this is not cutting it so far. So let's move this out of the way, and I'm just gonna go back to this guy right here real quick. So this is a Vivitar 90mm macro lens. This is probably like a 70-year-old lens, and the footage that this thing squeezes out of it, that you can squeeze out of this thing, is just amazing. So I basically just bought an adapter, and I put this on my FX3, or at times, you know, my FS7, and shoot macro. And let me tell you, it is beautiful. It's a 2.8 NF 2.8, so you have a really wide aperture. I just bought these focus gear rings, put it on there, and it does the trick. It's you know what, I'm just gonna include the footage down there so you guys can see. So that's all I have to say for today. If you guys are not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe down there and hit the bell thing so you can see future reviews. You know, sometimes we discuss about business in general, how we can help one another develop and become better videographers, and so on and so forth. So if you're not part of the family, please go ahead and subscribe, follow us down there, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. Until next time, love you guys, and thank you very much for swinging by.